Perfect Fit Closets. Today we'll talk about moldings, more specifically toe molding. We'll be talking about using our placement tool, indicating use this to place toe and top moldings and the actual toe molding itself. I have here a walk-in closet, as well as an island module. I'm going to go ahead and just delete my previous design here, and I'll show you exactly how to use a top molding. On my elevation 1, I have here tall modules as well as a corner module. So let's use this section here. As described into our notepad here, we're going to use our placement tool first before we add any type of molding, regardless if it's toe or top moldings. We always need to use a placement tool. We're going to be adding it to our elevation 1 as well as our island. I'm going to double click our categories in our local browser. I've got our Perfect Fit Canada Canadian catalog. We're going to double click our moldings, and we have 4 sections: placement tool, toe molding, top molding, and valence molding. Let's go ahead and use our placement tool. We're going to double click, and we have 2 types of placement moldings: TMP, called top molding path, for our regular wall or tall modules, and then TMPC, our top molding path for corners, which we'll be using here. Let's go ahead and drag and drop using our top view, and we're going to drag it and drop it into our corner module. A new dialog box appears. Shelf depth is 14 inches, which is correct. That's what we're using, and we're connecting it to our top angled shelf. We also do have a selection for our radial shelf, but we have the angled shelf option. We'll click on OK, and the TMP drops right into our corner module, located at the very top. Next, we're going to grab our TMPC. We're going to drag and drop it into our moldings, or into our tall modules. Now that's in place, we can go back into our moldings, go into our toe molding, and in our toe molding, we have a little description that says asterisk, 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 use placement tool for placement. As a reminder that we have to do that, and we've already done so and added it to elevation 1. We also have a flat molding 4125, a flat 5375, and a flat 6625. So this will encompass and go over the existing toe kick and half overlay into our bottom fixed shelves. The sizes differ depending on the size of the actual molding itself. If I click on the actual module itself, we can click on our attributes, and I'm using the current default height. We take a look into our variables at the very bottom of our variables. We see I'm using the toe kick and the default height of 3 3/4. If I increased this to the 5 inches, I would then use the 5 3/8 toe molding, going over the toe kick and half overlay into the bottom fixed shelf. If I use the 6 1/4 inch height of a toe kick, then I would use the 6 5/8 flat molding toe kick. We'll keep it at default at 3 3/4. We'll click on OK. And when that's all settled in, we're going to go ahead and drop in our flat molding 4 1/8. So now we've got our top view. We've got a split screen. We're going to drag and drop my flat molding 4 1/8. We're going to drag, left click into our top view. I see my magnet. I'm going to hover over the TMP and then let go of my mouse. Once I let go of my mouse, it's asking where I'd like it to connect to. I want to connect it to our TMP, which is located at the very top. I'm going to left click once, and we can see that we actually have our molding going all the way. We give you extra molding. As you can see, we could have easily stopped it right here, but we give extra just in case the installer needs some extra parts. If we look at our top view, our elevation view, we can see that we've attached the toe molding to our TMP. Now, our TMP was situated at the very top. So for the molding to work, we need to drop this down all the way down to the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and right click the actual flat 4125. I'm going to left click up and down. And in my placement zone, I want to indicate that I want to connect this right to the floor. So I'm going to hit 0 inches, the placement of the toe molding from the very top to the very bottom. I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard. And you can see it is now slided through at the very bottom. And you can see the actual half overlay. So now we have an overlay of 3¼ inches. We can do the exact same thing with our actual island. I'm going to delete this top just for the time being. You don't need to delete the top, but we'll delete it just for the time being. I'm going to do the exact same thing here. We're going to click on our categories, moldings, and we're going to click our placement tool. We want the TMP. We're going to left click, drag it into my island, let go of my mouse, and attach the TMP. Once the TMP is added, we'll go back into moldings, double click our toe moldings, and the same thing, we're using the default 3 3/4. So we'll use the flat molding 4 1/8 and drag it into our top view, hover over the TMP. Once I see my magnet, I'm going to let go of my mouse, and now I'm going to left click TMP. It is situated at the very top. Let's click our elevation. You can see our toe molding at the very top. And now we're going to right click, left click up and down. And sometimes it'll show in a placement, but this time a new dialog box appeared. We want to say that we want the 0 inches from the floor. We'll click on OK, and the molding is now at the very bottom. Once you're all done with the moldings, you can, the TMPs, my apologies, you can certainly left click and right click and delete. So once you've already added in your moldings, you can delete the TMPs. There's no charge to that. So if you forget to delete it, you certainly can. We just like to clean up the design. So when you do print out your plan view, we don't see the TMP or TMPC. If we go into our perspective view, we can take a look at the toe molding. Now, toe kicks are usually there because if you're going into the actual module, you don't want your toe hitting the actual module. Therefore, most toe kicks are actually inset. But this is a toe molding. So this applies if you know for sure the client isn't going to stub their toe. With the 14-inch deep module, they won't stub their toe. Off something that's 24 inches, that's a different story, that you might not want to put a toe base on there. We have already got a toe kick in place. We can see the actual toe molding. So this is now protruding past the toe kick and past the actual module of 14 inches. We can see on the elevation 3, we actually have the regular toe molding. And again, we have toe moldings just so that our clients don't stub their toe. If you want a finer finish to kind of hide all that, this is also an option as well. We can also take a look at our island module. If we take a look at our island module, the same concept applies. If your client wishes to actually have a decorative outer piece that encompasses the actual openings as well as the sides, a toe molding might suit you best. Here's an actual live section here. In our dealer portal, we can see our toe flat molding as a description. And we also do have a picture from one of our dealers underneath our marketing tab and underneath closet photos. In our closet photos, we have a description here. We can see from this illustration that we have a 24-inch deep system, a standalone system. Client wished to actually have the toe molding. If we go back one picture, we can see it right here in the description here. Flush to the actual doors as well as the drawers. So there's no indentation, no inset. So once again, I can leave or subtract the TMP. There's no cost to it. And again, it just makes it a little cleaner for your client. We can always add products in afterwards. For our island, we can certainly add our top. We just spoke about our moldings, specifically our toe molding using the placement tool. We place the toe molding, either the 4125, 5375, or the 6625, depending on the height of the bottom shelf. And we're going to drag and drop our toe moldings. Our toe moldings can also be found in our calculated items. If I right click off screen and left click our show item list, it is not underneath our items tab below. It will always be underneath our extras, accessories, extra costs. If I click on the accessories, extra costs, after my program has done thinking. We can see that all the moldings, regardless if it's a valence, front molding, top molding, or even toe kick molding, it's all going to be in our calculated items. We can see our calculated items listed right here. If you have any questions regarding moldings, please do contact us at support@perfectfitcanada.com.